To take a quick moment to remind you to please take my survey that studies leader membership exchange and conflict management in student government. These results will not only help me complete my research, but also provide valuable insight to how our organization functions and communicates. So far, I've received about 53 responses last I checked, but my goal is to get around 80, and I only have a week left to collect data. I noticed a few of you have clicked the yes to consenting to take the survey, but you never completed it. A couple of people only fill out half of it. So I'd appreciate it if you would all, at some point, just take a moment and take that survey. Thank you.
We'll now move to adopting the agenda. Is there a motion to do so? Vice Speaker Hartley.
Motion to add 2025-2-051 seating senators to the bottom of special orders.
There's been a motion to add 2025-2-051 SG, seating senator to the Rules Committee. Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any objections? Back on the agenda as a whole. Speaker Pursley.
I motion to add 2025-2-043F to the agenda.
There's been a motion to add 2025-2-043F to the agenda. It's been seconded. Are there any objections? Back on the agenda as a whole. There's been a motion to adopt the agenda. It's been seconded. Are there any objections? All right, we'll now move to approval of minutes. Is there a motion to do so?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Are there any objections? All right, we'll now move to committee reports, starting with rules.
Okay, Rules met last week, and we saw a new senator that will be up tonight to be sat. We also discussed the Super Act, which will be on second read tonight, and we have sent it with some changes that we can overlook, or that we can look over when we're on that bill. We'll be meeting next week this week at our usual time on Thursdays.
Finance.
Okay, guys, Noah's not here, so I'm reading out our budget for us, or what we spent, so bear with me as I say a lot of numbers. Okay. So for green initiatives, we've spent $420.97, and we have $29,614.59 left in the Green Initiatives Fund. For executive initiatives, we've spent $371.50, and we have $4,628.50 left in the account. Legislative relations, we have $110.92. And then we have $14,889.08 left in the account. For events, we've spent around $2,874.45, and we have $48,200 left. For special projects, we have 200. Sorry, numbers are hard. 22. Oh my goodness. Hello. $233,944.76 left, and we have $1,596,761.53 left for special projects. Operating, we have $60,654.57 and $45,527.05 left. Senate discretionary we spent $25,462.63, and we have $4,537. Annual allocations, we spent $1,487,167.21, and we have $6,437.21 left. And lastly, reoccurring obligations, we spent $618,270.78, and we have $504,502.08. And then lastly, last for me. Noah wanted to say we've paid for the first batch of parking tickets. So, and that's it for me.
PR?
Hello. Okay. Um, we had a meeting on Sunday, and then all the materials for the bus naming contest have been sent out to print, so you'll see those up around campus soon. And then we have one person being set on the PR committee tonight, so that's super exciting. Just on some outreach side of things, please, if you have already done your Safe Food 101 for this academic year, please send it to me. I have one person. So this is making it really hard for me to plan tabling events because I don't want to have pizza and then nobody's actually certified to serve it. So please get that to me. And then for outreach credits, we do have cookies and college senators. There's still open spots left. That's an easy way to do it. Get them done. If that time doesn't work for you, you can always go to a club or a classroom.
Idea?
Hey, so we're done with the International Student Handbook draft, so we'll be sending it over to Career Services for them to go over it. And we also had a meeting last week, and we started planning on the idea town hall, and hopefully by this week we'll think of some of the discussion points and people to invite to come to the town hall. Yeah.
Events?
Just a few updates on our end. So like Harley said, cookies and college senators is coming up. That bill is going through second read tonight. There are a few spots open, but just for a quick note, when we had to reschedule the vet med tabling event, a couple of you said you would be available to help with that. So please sign up if you said you could do that.
And then additionally, remember to go in and fill out the suggestions for the speakers and leaders at the Lunch and Learn. Molly and I have got tentative dates set for 2 in February and 2 in March. So please have that form filled out by Friday so we can move forward and take your guys' suggestions into consideration.
Local affairs?
Okay, guys, bear with me because I can't see anything through these, so I need to hold my computer like this. Bello. Okay, I'm really sorry. Okay. So first of all, thank you to everyone who came out to the joint city council meeting. It was really productive and great, and I just really appreciate you all taking the time to engage with the city council and all of our local leaders. And then for any of the senators who have topics that they want to discuss further, or if anything came up that you want to talk to me about more, or if there was anything that didn't come up that you wanted to talk about, please send me a Teams message or an email, and I'm happy to talk to you guys all about that. And then also I'll be sending out some resources about voting and voter registration for the upcoming election on Tuesday. That's Tuesday, November 4th. It's going to be a city council election, and then there's also the bond referendum for the fire station relocation. In the meantime, for anyone who's watching at home and for all of you here, if you look at storycountyiowa.gov, you can see some of the official voter information for this election, including some of the registration details. If you're not registered right now, you will have to register on Election Day. And it has all the information about what you need for that, which would be a photo ID and proof of residence. And what qualifies for all of that, you can see on storycounty.gov, or storycountyiowa.gov. And it's under the voter information tab. And then also, Cyride is going to be fare-free on Election Day, so November 4th, Tuesday, fare-free for Cyride. And then if you have any questions about the upcoming election, or if you need anything else from me, just send me an email or a Teams message. Thanks.
Sustainability?
Okay, hi guys. Not too much from us today. We had our little Halloween-themed meeting earlier today, and that was super cool, especially because we were passing a Green Initiatives Fund, so the people who came in to talk to us were like, what are you doing? But we passed the Green Initiatives Fund, so Finance Committee, watch out. You guys are going to hear from us soon. And then we also do have an event, so we're working with After Dark. November 7th, you guys should come. We spent about 4 hours this weekend in my apartment. About 5 of us huddled around my tub, peeling off a bunch of labels off of jars and bottles from the Resource Recovery Center. And we're planning on having people decorate them and then make origami flowers. So if you're interested in that, you should definitely show up. Again, it's November 7th. It's at the After Dark. And yeah.
Health and wellness?
Okay, so obviously I'm not the director of Health and Wellness, but Health and Wellness did have a meeting yesterday, and we had a lot of really great idea generation go on, and it was very productive. So that's all.
Legislative ambassadors?
Okay. So I want to say I'm really excited. I've got 9 people sat to my committee, a mix of at-larges and senators, so I'm really grateful for that last week. And I have 5 more people to present to you tonight. And so I'm really excited to get our advocacy started and appreciative for all of you listening to my seating bills. So thank you.
Comments from the judicial branch?
1 second, I just ate a whole bunch of popcorn. We're good. We are up to 5 members now. We have more applicants that will be rolling in that will probably be included in next week's agenda to be sworn on. I do believe we have enough applicants to fill up the roles, but I haven't quite heard back from all of them. So if you do still have people that are interested, feel free to send them my way.
Comments from the advisor?
I thought maybe Brad was still here because it's technically his night. I don't have any major updates tonight. So if anyone needs anything from me, come and find me. The union, unrelated, is hosting our Big 12 Union Directors Conference in 2 weeks, and I'm planning it, so I might be a little frazzled until then. So also, you can go see Brad and Chad if you need something.
Comments from the executive branch with President Brandt?
Hi guys, happy Wednesday. So this is the final time that I'll talk to you about, well, I guess next week I'll actually talk to you about the skin. Next week is when our finalists are coming for our new university president. So we'll have 3 finalists on campus next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. They'll be here. And the opportunity is available to every student to participate in their town hall open forums that will take place from 4 to 5 in the Great Hall. This is a great opportunity to come and meet the candidates, share your feedback through the online form that will get sent to the Board of Regents. So we encourage everyone to come. Director Baumler will be offering outreach credits if you come. I'll detail all this in an email I'm about to send out as well. But yeah, please come, tell your constituency councils, bring your friends, and it's a great way to make sure that your voice is heard in the decision-making process. Other than that, working on planning Big 12 on the Hill, so yeah, we'll have more information on that to come.
We'll now move to external matters, starting with 2025-2-035F, Women's Hockey Club Ice Time Funding with Senator Jones.
Hello, everyone. We saw this in Finance Committee. I mean, it was sent regularly to Senate, and I know we have representatives who come to the lectern and tell us about your funding request.
Yeah, Jim Croxdale. I'm the faculty advisor to the women's hockey team. Tessa just had to leave. So the previous, at the time that the original budget was submitted, there was a different rate for hour of ice time. Those rates are changed by the city, I believe, in July. So those new rates took effect. Additionally, the previous officers did not schedule enough practice time. And so the main portion of this request is to fund additional ice time so the women can practice 2 times a week. And I'd also point out that the men, which are funded by you as well, they're funded to practice 4 times a week. So we requesting this as well, aside from they need the ice time, having an additional practice a week is also, I'd point out, is a safety issue, because studies show that having that extra time on the ice helps prevent injuries. And also in the request, there was an additional home series game, which is 2 games, was also added to that.
Speaker Pursley?
Okay, as our finance director isn't here, you reach out to our vice chair of the finance committee. So this bill is $12,300, and we only have $4,500 left in the Senate discretionary fund. How are we able to fund this bill if we don't have the money in the Senate discretionary?
So it's going to be out from special contracts and not some discretionary.
Okay.
No problem.
Senator Kuzi?
Hello, please excuse our costumes.
Look great.
Happy Halloween, first of all, but do you know if the club have any knowledge that the rates were going to change, or is this something that was discovered after they changed?
The way they elect, excuse me, the way they elect at the timing when the new officers come in, they have no visibility of that. The team has decided to do, so in the future, they're going to elect their officers in January of each year. That way, the existing president and the other officers can mentor them throughout the spring semester, so that they will have visibility in the future.
Yeah, I really like that. Thank you for you and the club making that change. I really appreciate that, and I'm in favor of this. Thank you.
Thanks.
It's been called to question and seconded. Are there any objections? Closing comments? We'll now move forward with a roll call vote. Iona Dimhoff?
Yes.
Curtis?
Yes.
Grafe?
Yes.
Jones? Miller?
Yes.
Kikun? Dahman?
Yes.
Corshi? Snyder?
Yes.
Hartley?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Nandal?
Yes.
Pursley?
Yes.
Neal? Kuzi?
Yes.
Gardy?
Yes.
Saini?
Yes.
Graybill? Bernal?
Yes.
Valenzuela?
Yes.
Lima Barbosa?
Yes.
Einwalter?
Yes.
With a vote of 22 to 0, the bill passes. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your consideration. It's a happy Halloween.
We'll now move to 2025-2-036F, funding for Indian Student Association with Senator Lima Barbosa. Senator Jones.
Motion to table this bill for 1 week.
There's been a motion to table this bill for 1 week. It's been seconded. Are there any objections?
Just for context, it was, we met with the finance committee, we tabled it, we just need to table it on here.
We'll now move to 2025-2-037F, cookies with college senators with Senator Jones.
Hey everyone, this was sent favorably from finance committee to Senate. Does anyone have any questions or workers or anything, so.
Senator Kuzi?
Sorry, I was just thinking of the question. So I just talked to the co-directors earlier this week. So this would come out of the Senate discretionary, is that correct? To Senator Jones. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I miss that?
Yeah, what is it? Special projects.
Okay, just a question on this. Why wouldn't this come out of like an events committee budget? And this could be to anybody.
So that's a NOAA question. Unfortunately, I don't know the very specifics between those two. That would be a NOAA question, but we did decide finance committee was getting special projects. So I can't give you the detail term.
You said finance committee determined that this is the right account for it.
Yeah, we talked a little about it.
There's kind of been a question floating around too. So I think maybe rules could answer this as well. The events committee would have quorum and enough to use their budget. Is that correct? If anybody knows point of information on that answer. I can yield to somebody from rules.
Yeah, Rules Committee doesn't really decide on what accounts are being used. That's a finance committee.
Okay, the question was, does events committee have quorum?
I believe so.
Well, currently we don't have any senators on our committee. We sent out our form. It's still in the Teams if anyone's looking to join. You can still do that.
And also, as long as they have at-larges, they can vote, and they do have at-larges.
So that would be the quorum, correct? Okay, so there is quorum, but finance committee decided to use special projects. Okay, thank you.
NOAA just answered my question. He said that there's only 4,000.5K left in Senate discretionary. So that's why we ended up using that one.
So this would be half, give or take?
No, that's.
Oh, I'm
that's
sorry,
Senate
my
discretionary.
mistake, yes. Thank you, I yield.
Senator Dama?
This is a question for our co-directors of events. So for the cookies, if they're not used for a certain college, will they be like given to like the next day or something for that?
Yep, so the first events will take place on the 4th, so next Monday. We're kind of expecting that they probably all will be taken just because there is only 192 of them for each spot. And especially with it being a Monday, campus will be a little bit busier, but if there are any left over, they'll be moved over to the next date.
Thank you.
Vice Speaker Hartley?
Okay, this could just be my ignorance, but are these cookies packaged?
No, there'll be like a box of.
Okay, so then are the students going to be picking them up themselves, or are we serving them?
You guys will be serving them, and then we'll have gloves with you guys. Like
That doesn't require for the food safety training though?
That would probably be a question for Director Bromler. I would assume it would, but.
I'm currently looking this up. You do all have to have Safe Food 101 to serve cookies. It's really quick, very fast, 10 minutes. I did it in 5, so
Okay, just me.
I can send the link out because you guys, this is a really good way. I think this is a really good event. I put full faith behind this because this is what getting out in front of students, so I'm all for it. So I will send out that link right now.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Miller?
Yeah, how did we decide on 192 cookies for each college?
Can you guys stand up so everyone can see you?
So when Lainey and I were looking into this event, we felt like 192 cookies was a good amount for about 2 hours. We're thinking you're going to be experiencing about 2 passing periods, and then depending on the building that you're in, you'll see at least 192 students coming in and out of classes.
Okay, so you just feel like pretty much. Like, I mean, you guys have experience a little bit, so you might.
If you're curious about why 192, we're ordering them from Fairway, and you have to order them in, like, what is it, buy a certain amount of dozen. So that's just the number we landed on.
Senator Curtis.
I yield my speaking privilege to Eric Rolls.
I guess, is there a reason why the cookies aren't distributed proportionally? Because design has about a quarter of the population that engineering does. So.
Yeah, so I think we all speak from experience that we're having classes all across campus. We're not just limited to one building. Additionally, when Lainey and I were planning this, our thought process was to keep it completely fair. We don't want to be put in a situation where, say, Cal's runs out of cookies, and then it turns back around and they say, oh, we weren't given enough cookies. So it's easy enough just to give everyone the same amount of cookies.
Thank you.
I completely understand the desire for consistency, but equal numbers don't necessarily mean fairness. A proportional approach would make sure each college has enough cookies for their turnout while avoiding waste. We're talking about $2,100 of student fee money, and I think we have a responsibility to spend it efficiently. It's not about limiting the event, it's about being intentional and realistic with how we allocate the resources. I fully support this event, but I think we can make a good idea even better by matching our resources to reality. I yield.
Senator Snyder.
Just a quick point of information for two directors of events. We've been trying to do outreach to get people to fill out those cards for, emails to the senators for a couple months now, correct? And correct me if I'm wrong, but the response has been a little lackluster, am I wrong? If I could get a rough number of how that would be going.
That's not our area. I'm not a part of that, so I can't
Okay, I've just,
answer
going off what I've
accurately.
seen on the board, I'm a little concerned about how you're gonna get students to stay. Because most people will just run by and grab a cookie, right? That's cool.
Well, I guess, we wouldn't say that we're hoping to keep students there for a long period of time. The point of it is that you guys are able to make a brief point of contact, share what resources student government has, and then allow the students to go on with their day. We're kind of just trying to meet them where they are with this and not really keep them there for a long period of time.
I yield.
Senator Lima Barbosa.
I just want to point out the information that Finance Committee agreed that the consistency in this case of the amount of cookies was the ideal call. So I understand amount, size of students and all of those questions, but we did agree that that was the right call in this case, especially because I'm pretty sure we're going to see more than 192 students and probably maybe get one more cookie for each student.
Speaker Persley.
I will say for all senators to keep in mind that you were elected in this position as a senator to reach out to your constituents and be there and be familiar to them as their senator. And how many of these people just in these random buildings in your college buildings really know that you're a senator. And I do think it's a good way to connect with some of these people that you wouldn't likely connect with. And so I understand that maybe you don't want to do another thing and you have a lot of things on your plate, but I do think that this is a good way to show student government in a good light. People love snacks, and it's a good way to connect with your constituents, and therefore I'm in support of this bill.
Senator Kuzi.
I think the idea of putting cookies proportional to enrollment or some other number would be a great addition to this, or a great change to this. One thought I just had, we just heard from ex officio Bolin that election day is on November 4th. I see November 4th listed as 3 different group dates. Have you thought about the impact from election day, and then also from the overlap of, so if I'm looking at engineering on the schedule posted on our internal channels, right? The engineering table will go from 11 to 1 on the 4th. LAS will go from 10 to 12. And then vet med is also listed as going from 12 to 2. So with all of that overlap, have you considered how you too will be at each of those places and supporting the events because you're sponsoring them?
So me and Lainey's plan for those days is we're gonna go pick up the fairway cookies either the night before or the morning of, and then leave them and all the materials in the Senate office. Those that are tabling, it'll be your job to come pick it up, bring it to your tabling event, and then you can reach out to us if you have any questions. And then regarding the election, we took all of your guys' feedback on when you guys were available, so this is what the dates worked best with our schedules and making sure everything gets picked up and put in place, as well as what worked in all of your schedules.
Okay, just going back to the questions there. So was election day considered, and then will you be at the events?
When we set the dates, we considered what worked best for the college senators, and then Molly and I will be doing our best to be floating in and out of the events. I know we both have classes that day and other commitments, so we're going to be floating in and out as needed, checking in with everyone, and making sure that you guys are still supported by having all the materials we need or that you need. But ultimately, it is just passing out cookies and talking to your constituents, so it's not super complicated.
And then, if I still have time, can you speak to, the pushes and announcements and requests about getting people involved in this? I mean, was the interest limited at first? What was that like?
Do you mean like for getting senators involved in it, or what are
Yes.
you?
I think something Lainey and I have seen from the beginning is it's kind of hard to get you guys to fill out the form sometimes. So just pushing that and making sure everyone fills it. Sometimes I struggle too when it comes to seeing all the dates I'm available. It's overwhelming. So just having grace all throughout the process.
Thank you. I yield.
Senator Miller?
Okay, maybe I didn't hear, but did you guys ever answer the question about why did you choose to go to Senate for funding and not an events budget?
Noah got back to me on this. He also said Jack Trice Remembrance Day and the Expo all have gone through special projects. So it's precedent that we go through special projects through events like this, versus events is used for a different funding aspect. And if you have more questions, please reach out to Finance Director Kim Iron. Our events co-directors don't deal with what it comes out of what budget.
Okay, that makes sense. Oh, could I yield to Brody for?
So I guess with that, how much is in the events committee account? Or has that been touched, and for what? Unless we're using precedent that we use every event out of special
When we
projects.
asked Noah, he said, I believe it was $2,500 in our events budget.
2,500 in the budget currently, or as an allocation, or?
That is beyond me.
In the events budget, we have $48,200. We have precedent with all the other events like Jack Trice Remembrance Day and the Expo. Like I said, if you have more questions, you can ask Finance Director Cam Meyer through Teams. He's watching the live stream. Finance Committee, we talked about this, and this is the budget that we are using to take the money out of. So please, more questions, ask him.
I would say, just in response to this is all coming very quick. If these events weren't scheduled for the 4th and the 7th, respectively, I would move to table these, but because they're scheduled so soon, I don't know.
Point of information, this is the bill's
I don't
on
know
second
what kind of
read.
situation we're in here, if anyone has any other ideas.
Point of information, this bill's on second read, so we saw it last week, so I don't think it's being rushed or anything.
Okay, just last week, we had to change the event date for vet med because of the timing. So that's where that comment comes from.
Speaker Pursley?
I wouldn't say that bills senators disagree with necessarily means that it's rushed. We did have this bill on first read last week, and it went through Finance Committee. If you disagreed with the way it was financed, you can always go to Finance Committee and voice your opinion. This is how we set all of our finance bills. They go through first read and then second read. That's how it always has been. We don't take 3 or 4 weeks to look at one finance bill. So I would not say that it's been rushed in any way. If you disagree with the bill, you can vote no, and that's your right.
Senator Snyder.
I know we're talking about a lot about the outreach efforts that we're going through here, and I know that that's generally the Director of Outreach's domain or jurisdiction, if you will. Was there any discussion with her to maybe do funding through the PR committee? And I mean, I know we're getting back to money, and this is the one that Finance Committee chose to use, but were there discussions to collaborate with our committee to do that, or was that just throw it to Finance?
So again, we don't decide how the money gets spent. We collaborated with outreach on some other things, but we're not the ones who ultimately decide what account it comes out of. And this event, we're trying to do it for you so that you have opportunities to connect with your constituents. Just a reminder about that.
So we're clear, did you ask the Director of Outreach or collaborate with her on this event?
Yes.
Senator Iona Dimhoff.
I'm just curious, as an LAS senator, so like which buildings will be utilized for each of the colleges? Like I know you gave an example in the bill, Ivy College will use like Jardine, but what about the other colleges?
Yep. So engineering will be in Martson Hall. The Ivy College of Business will be in Jardine. College of Ag and Life Sciences will be in Curtis. LAS will be in Carver. Vet Med is going to be in Patterson Hall. And design will be in the Design Hall. And College of Health and Human Sciences will be in McKay. And all of this information, once it gets passed and we have more of the information, we will send it all out to everyone who signed up.
It's been called a question and seconded. Closing comments?
I just want to say I've supported this event from the beginning. While I have an issue with the proportions of the cookies, I do think the positives of these events do outweigh the negatives because senators need to get out there and talk to their constituents. And I want to see this event happen just as much as you do. I do hesitate to vote yes because of my issue there, but fingers crossed there's enough traffic in each building to get rid of the cookies. So I encourage you all to vote yes.
All right, we'll now move forward with a roll call vote. Senator Dahman.
I just, one thing about the engineering one, I don't know if Marston is the correct location for that, because I think Marston doesn't have as much foot traffic as something else like Hoover would. So I think we should change it to something like that.
Yeah, we can, if you want, we can definitely talk about that, and we'd be more than open to moving it to where you feel it is best.
It's been called a question and seconded. Are there any objections? No closing comments. All right, now move forward with a roll call vote. Iona Dimhoff. Gertis. Grafe. Jones. Miller. Kekun. Dahman. Corshi. Snyder. Hartley. Margaret? Yes. Nandal? Yes. Pursley? Yes. Neal? Kuzi? Yes. Gardy? Yes. Saini? Graybill? Bernal? Valenzuela? Lima Barbosa? Einwalter? Dahman? Neal? Valenzuela. I got them all. Yep. With a vote of 16 to 2 to 3, the bill passes. We'll now move to 2025-2-001A, the Super Act with Speaker Pursley.
Okay. You guys have had a lot of time to read through this bill. I'm gonna give it up to Election Commission to kind of explain everything. And then we can move into Rules Committee's ideas.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having us. This election code is a culmination of 2 years of lessons, 2 years of having a code that was both too specific and not specific enough. Too many times the commission was left scrambling to do with gray areas, trying to apply a penalty system that was so rigid, outdated, and disorganized that it was difficult for both us as a commission to follow and for candidates to follow. This new code fixes that and more. We believe that this code provides for new rules and regulations to eliminate loopholes, provide clarity to the commission and candidates, and ensure that we can run a better and more organized elections in the future. Among these changes include clear rules regarding social media, a more organized and concise Chapter 8, which covers our election regulations. The new code also provides for stronger financial transparency and a more equitable funding system by eliminating private funding and transitioning to a fully public funding system for executive candidates, using funds that Senate has already appropriated in the previous appropriation cycle. Another key part of our new code is the new points-based, tier-based penalty system that goes beyond simply saying whether a slate broke a rule, but now take into account severity and the circumstances of a violation to ensure the commission reaches the most just outcome. Not only that, but the new system will prevent repeat violations through its points-based nature. Once a candidate hits 10 points, they're disqualified with the ability to appeal. Coupled with case examples, we believe that this new system will ensure a better application of election law. Before you begin asking questions, I would like to acknowledge the Election Commission, the Senate Rules Committee, President Brandt, and Vice President Vlasic for the long meetings, many conversations, and compromises to make this code what we believe is the strongest code that we have had in the history of the Election Commission. So thank you very much, and I open myself to any questions you may have.
Speaker Pursley.
First, I'm going to go to rules suggestions in the bylaws. I want to note that these are only suggestions from rules and they must be voted on by the Senate as a whole to change. So you guys all get a decision in these suggestions. Would we like to go one by one and vote on them? So the first change proposed by Rules Committee is 9.6.1.3.1. Members of the Violation Committee shall undergo yearly training on the impartial application of government election law. Motion to add that new language to the bill.
There's been a motion to add new language around training on impartial enacting impartial government law for the Violations Committee. It's been seconded. Are there any objections?
Okay, and next we move down to 10.2.9. This is a Rules Committee suggestion. Motion to include 10.2.9, a valid signature shall include a student's printed name, signature. This is adding back petitions, 10.2.9 and 10.2.10 is adding back petitions. Rules Committee came to a vote that petitions should be added back to the bylaws and the code. Motion to open discussion on this? I don't know.
Second. There's been a motion to add back the language regarding petitions.
Just as a point of order, very briefly, would we be able to do that as a motion to add back in all of the separate sections about petitioning so that we're considering them as a whole? Because I believe, as I count, there are 6 different parts in both the code and the bylaws that talk about this, and it wouldn't necessarily make sense to add back one part without, the entirety of the structure. So if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, okay. Adding back the petitions as a whole in the code and bylaws.
So there's been a motion to add back all the language regarding petitions in both the bylaws and the election code.
Second.
Vice Speaker Hartley?
I think that, maybe somebody else should be making this motion if we redid this, just for rules' opinions to be continuous throughout. If we could remove this motion and have somebody else make the motion to add this back.
If the speaker would withdraw, I would make the same motion.
Yeah.
Speaker withdraw the motion. This is now the same motion on the floor, now by Senator Margaret. Is there any discussion? Speaker Persley.
I would like to mention that I am not a voting member of the Rules Committee. I just chair the Rules Committee meetings, so I don't get to express my vote in Rules Committee meetings. Personally, I do not believe that adding back petition signatures is the appropriate measure. I believe Election Commission has been trying to do this for a couple years now for valid reasoning. Many students are confused by petitioning and believe that they are already voting, and then when it comes voting time, drives down our voting turnout because people already believe they voted during the petitions. So that's my opinion on why we shouldn't add back petition collections. I would also like to say, in the Big 12 conference with all the other schools, I was in the conversations about elections. We are one of the only Big 12 schools that requires petitions. Just following their example, I also think is potentially appropriate. But I would be interested to see what other people think on this.
Senator Kuzi. You're next.
Sorry, I thought Senator Curtis was next. So my point of discussion here would be kind of opening the floor to encourage anyone who's run for president, vice president, currently holds these positions or has interest in running, to speak to what impact this might have or would have had on them and why or why not they would want it. So if anyone has that interest, please speak now. If anyone's interested, give me a nod or something, and I'll yield time. No? Yes? Okay, I'll yield time to Eric Rolls.
All right, it's a little convoluted. I do personally believe that petitions should be part of the election process. At kind of any amount, it could be lower than the current 500 I believe it's currently at, but I believe petitioning is a great way to get out there and get your name out there and get to meet candidates firsthand. Yes, that is kind of what actually running your normal election does anyways, but it kind of gives you a head start. I had plenty of people, Josie and I had plenty of people that recognized us from petitioning that just wanted to kind of talk and get more to know about our platform when it actually came time to voting. So I feel like it was a great opportunity to have, and I feel like we should continue to have this opportunity at its 500 amount or a lower amount, but either way, thank you.
Thank thank you for that. If anyone else has it, please, again, give me a nod. Come speak to me after the privilege is gone, and I'll use my second one to give you time. Thank you. I yield.
Senator Curtis.
Well, if you want to represent students, you should have to talk to them first, right? And petitions ensure that that happens. I fully support the amendment to this bill to bring petitions back, because actually going out and meeting the students you represent is crucial to any election, to give candidates a chance to earn their spot on the ballot and to start building genuine connections with their constituents. Thank you. I yield.
Senator Hartley.
I'm just interested if Election Commission could speak on why they had removed petitions and if they have any more thoughts right now.
Yeah, I think for one of our biggest reasonings for getting rid of petitions is it's kind of a mechanism that was supposed to prevent kind of joke candidates from joining and kind of putting a bit of a higher bar to join, but we really haven't seen that in any of the years that I've been as commissioner. We haven't seen in the past few years before my time as commissioner. I believe there's only been one time someone hasn't really made it. So it's really a very bureaucratic thing that doesn't achieve the thing that it's supposed to have. And I think to the point that it has an impact on the election as a whole, that it's going to give you an advantage, it's going to give you more votes and help you out there. Based on the data that I looked at towards the end of the election, I didn't really see that. The election is very back-ended. Voters, as we see in real life, as we see in elections, of a very short memory. So what you do at the beginning is not going to have that much of an impact towards the end of the campaign, so it's not really going to yield you an advantage. It's really kind of a bureaucratic procedure that we view that didn't really serve any sort of purpose anymore. It might have at some point, but in the current era, we didn't really see it as having a point.
Senator Eileen Dimhoff.
I have a question for any member of the Rules Committee. Where did the number 500 registered Iowa State, like for the petition, like where did the number 500 come from?
That's from last year's election code, so that was just decided last year.
Senator Margaret.
All right, well, first of all, I want to thank you all for being here to the Election Commission. I agree with a lot of what was said at the beginning there. I think the code that you have before us is far more effective than a lot of election codes than we've had in the past. I think you guys, largely with the same leadership in EC over these past 2 years, have really done a terrific job, and I want to just thank you again and express my appreciation for that. Really, the one kind of issue where I would dissent with what's been put before us that I think was, worth the discussion that we're having right now is petitioning. Just to kind of take a step back for a moment, no, I'll do my best to be brief here, but just for those of you who might not have been through a student government election before, just touching on what petitions are, and kind of as someone with a unique depth of experience, having spent 4 years in student government, having run in 3 elections, having run and successfully won an executive office, I just want to make an argument for why petitioning is so important as part of our election tradition. Petitioning is the idea, as was just mentioned, currently the number is 500. Previously, before that, 2 years ago, it was 750. Before that, years ago, it used to be 1,500. But it's the number of signatures, used to be physical signatures, now could be electronic on a form, could be physical, that you need to get from students before you're placed on the ballot as a candidate for executive office. Executive office being when you run as a slate for president and vice president together. I think having petitioning remain a part of our rules, which it's been a part of our rules for at least 50 years. The earliest reference that I'm able to find to petitioning was when it was 1500, and that was in the 1970s. So I'm not saying we preserve it simply because it's a tradition, but I say that we have a responsibility to preserve petitioning because it serves, from my view as someone who's been through this process, as such a critically important function in our election rules. There are a lot of arguments you can make for petitioning. I just want to highlight 2 very briefly for your consideration. Firstly, it's an important tool when it comes to voter confidence. It's, as a student, you're looking at this ballot, you're looking at these names of people you may or may not know, and the fact that they went through this reasonable process to prove that they are committed to become, actually a candidate on the ballot, that's how you know that who you're voting for has the follow through to serve in an incredibly difficult position, I can attest to, as student body president or vice president. I think it's incredibly important that students should be able to have that confidence even if they have not met a candidate. But probably the more important reason that I'm such a big proponent of petitioning is, and you can call me old-fashioned, forget of my description of this, but I think it's a brand of personal politics that is really missing in our election kind of landscape right now. It's our equivalent of retail politics. So when you're running for president or vice president, you have an incentive to talk to as many people at once as possible, right? You're going to residence halls, you're going to these large lecture halls, you're going to sororities and fraternities and all these things. I shouldn't say petitioning, but you're campaigning online and trying to hit as many people as you can. Petitioning is really the only incentive that we have for candidates to have those one-on-one conversations, to actually walk up to people on campus and start a conversation. And it's important to remember as well that at this point in the election cycle, candidates have not yet announced their platforms. So when you go up and you talk to a student, you're not saying, I'm promising this, I'm promising that. You're saying, hey, my name is Quinn. I grew up here in Ames. I've been a lifelong Cyclone. I'm a student in business economics. I'm running to be student body vice president. Let's talk about that. And let's have a quick conversation. And I can tell you as someone who has won an executive office and has been through that very personal process, it's that one opportunity you have where it makes sense for you strategically to just walk around and talk to people. And I can tell you I had a lot of people throughout my term and even after it who have recognized me on campus because of that. And I don't say that in a vain way, right? But we want our executive candidates to be well known so that people are comfortable walking up to you, they know who you are, and they know that they can reach out to you if they have a concern because you care enough to take the time to talk to them. I've seen people, in dining halls, I've seen people on Central Campus. I actually saw someone who actually knew who I was from this practice, who was working the register at Blaze Pizza last year, right? And it's these connections that I think are so incredibly valuable. I don't have a whole lot of time left here in my speaking privilege, so I'm just gonna very quickly address a couple of things that have been mentioned. The idea that not a lot of other schools in the Big 12 do this, that's correct. It's a practice that's generally dwindling in our conference. A lot of other schools have other mechanisms of ensuring the quality of their candidates on the ballot, sometimes through primary processes and other things like that. And I think just because other schools don't do it doesn't mean it's not a uniquely important part of how we do personal politics here. The argument can be made that voter turnout did not decrease between the election of 2024 and 2025, which is when we decreased the number from 750 to 500. I would make the argument that elections are not one size fits all, and it's hard to attribute any sort of change between two wildly different elections with an entirely different landscape. I would argue it may be mentioned that candidates have petitioned quickly in recent years, as in instead of taking a week or a week and a half to do this, maybe it only takes you a week or a couple days. I would say that's an argument that we need to increase this number again, not that we need to get rid of this practice. I would be very much in favor of going back to 750 signatures, but I think the 500 number that we have in front of us is a compromise that's been crafted over multiple years. I would say the issue of students thinking that they voted twice. If you're having these personal conversations with people, they know what they're signing, and that's not historically been an issue that I've run into. I think if you're actually taking the time to really engage with someone as opposed to just check a box, I think students know what they're signing up for. I think students are smarter than, abstractly we're giving them credit for. And then lastly, I would just say, I think Santi was mentioning too, is we haven't had joke candidates in quite a number of years. Again, it's hard to, between elections attribute any change like that to one thing. But I think it could be a testament to the fact that this is a process that works, that's really protected us from joke candidates, so that instead of, all it takes to run for president is to sign your name on a piece of paper, you have to show, again, through sort of that voter confidence process, that you really mean it, and you'll really be there to represent them if you're elected. Believe I've already gone over my time, but just to say, I think this is an incredibly important practice. I've seen a lot of personal value as someone who's been through this process before, and I think it's something that's been such an important and critical function of our election tradition for over 50 years. I think it's something that I hope you'll very much consider adding back to the code and preserving so we can continue that sort of personal politics that otherwise candidates are not incentivized to do. So again, I thank the Election Commission. I think you all have done a great job. But this would be the one change that I would most strongly recommend to you. Thank you. I yield.
Senator Grafe.
I would just love to echo Senator Margaret. I think it is our civic duty as representatives to do petitions. Student government is supposed to mimic actual government, and that is a huge part of actual government. And I think it also shows our work ethic and how passionate we are that we go through the steps to mimic an actual government. Other schools may not have it, but I think it makes our rule of law even more powerful. And I think by not petitioning, it also just further disconnects us from our constituents. Yeah, I just think petitioning is great, and it's a great way also to just get experience. A lot of us might go on to be city council members or who knows, but I think petitions are great. Thank you, guys.
Senator Gertis.
Senator Grave kind of stole what I was going to say, but to reiterate, if you think about it, student government gives us, as students, a lot of experiences to prepare us for the real world, and a part of running for any office in real life involves petitioning. I think petitioning for these roles gives us experience for the real world, and a lot of you guys are poli-sci majors and probably will run for office in real life someday. So not only is it crucial for that real world experience, it lets candidates truly earn their spot on tickets. With that, I move to end discussion.
There's been a motion to end debate. It's been seconded. Are there any objections? All right, we'll now go back and vote on the original motion with a roll call vote. The original motion was to add back all the petition requirement language to the election code and the bylaws. So we'll now move forward with that. Iona Dimhoff. Yes. Gertis.
Yes.
Grafe.
Yes.
Jones. Yes. Miller.
Yes.
Kikun.
Yes.
Dahman.
Yes.
Corshi.
Yes.
Snyder. Hartley.
No.
Margaret.
Yes.
Nandal.
Yes.
Pursley.
No.
Neal.
Yes.
Kuzi.
Yes.
Gardy.
Yes.
Saney.
Yes.
Graybill.
Yes.
Bernal.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Lima Barbosa. Einwalter.
Yes.
With a vote of 18 to 2 to 0, the motion passes. So but now we're still back on the bill as a whole. So let Senator Kuzi.
Sorry, just a quick motion to remove Senator Snyder from the roll.
There's been a motion to remove Senator Snyder from the roll. It's been seconded. Are there any objections?
Okay. I believe that's everything to do with the bylaws.
And Josie, the marked up version with the rule suggestions is that document you have commented.
Thanks, Santi.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
Yep, that's right there. Go.
Okay, so next we're going to talk about the penalty system as a whole. Rules Committee would like to have Election Commission add 3 examples for each penalty tier in the code and mention that it is a non-exhaustive list. I would open up the floor to discussion on this before we motion to pass an amendment.
Vice Speaker Hartley.
Last week in Rules, we had a very, very productive conversation about this, and this was the compromise that all three parties kind of came to. And so I just would like to speak in favor of this addition. It doesn't necessarily change the penalty process, it just makes it more concise and precedented.
Senator Iona Dimhoff.
Just motion to close discussion on penalties.
There's been a motion to close discussion on penalties. It's been seconded. Are there any objections? All right, the floor is now open for a motion.
Motion to add any proposed changes that require 3 examples for each penalty tier.
There's been a motion to add throughout the text regarding violations, examples for those violations. It's been seconded. Are there any objections? How would you like to vote? Placard vote. Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? With a vote of 20 to 0, the amendment passes.
Okay, so the next thing the Rules Committee talked about was 8.7.5. Election Commission added a point about prohibiting campaigning on anonymous social media platforms like Yik Yak. The Rules Committee kind of came to the consensus that this rule prohibiting that would not be able to, you can't monitor that. There's no way to enforce it. And that's why Rules Committee voted to remove this. And it open it to discussion.
There's been a motion to close discussion. It's been seconded. Are there any objections? The floor is now open for motion.
Okay, motion to remove 8.7.5 and all other mentions of anonymous social media platforms from the election code.
There's been a motion to remove 8.7.5 and all other mentions of anonymous social media platforms throughout the election code. It's been seconded.
Object with a question. What are the other mentions?
I believe that's the only mention.
I would move to amend the motion to just include the line then.
Yeah.
Speaker Pursley will
Second, yeah.
amend her motion to just be that specific piece of the election code, and that's an exhaustive list. It's been seconded. Are there any objections? Placard vote has been called for. All those in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? With a vote of 19 to 1 to 0, the amendment passes.
Okay, next thing Rules Committee talked about was the election code currently says that the IT director should be monitoring the student government website and adding any campaign information to the website.
Yeah, just currently, it would be the AT director that manages, so if a candidate wanted a page on the website, they'd ask the AT director, and the AT director would set that up.
Rules Committee kind of talked about this and wanted to instead create a website liaison that was under Election Committee to serve as the resource to design and publish campaign web pages. We think it's more fair and impartial. The IT director should be focused on student government things, current student government things, and the IT director could also be running for a position or on a campaign, one of those things. So we just think that this is a little bit more fair.
Senator Kuzi.
Sorry, give me just 1 second to find it so I can read through it. The biggest thing is making sure that this fits PR standards and image standards for student government. So I'm looking at 13.2, election commissioner shall designate a general member of the election commission as website liaison to serve as a resource to help design and publish campaign web pages. The website liaison may not be partial to any candidate or slate. If the website liaison is unable to execute these duties, the election commissioner may select a replacement. Just from my experience on PR committee, I would suggest somewhere in here there's language that the postings be approved, or there's training on what's suitable, and also some of the things we talked about internally. So that's website training, that's kind of PR training, or maybe somewhere language to consult with PR, I think could be good additions here.
Yeah, I think that is valid. I would say that also in 13.4, it says you need the explicit and written consent of the director of IT to change anything else on the student government webpage besides those set pages.
Okay, so kind of what those things are, they're very technical. I would yield to the director of IT to speak to installing or adding plugin software code to the student government website compared to information.
Can you please stand?
Yeah. Does it say anything about adding plugins, or I can't?
Yeah,
read
that's just the one line here. So 13.4, slate shall not install/add any plugin software code to the student government webpage without the explicit and written consent of the director of information technology of the student government webpage. Written consent must be submitted to election commission.
So that's something that even I don't really have a ton of control over. That's something that like I would have to work with web dev department to add additional plugins or anything like that. Like right now we have the web forms plugin. That was through them. So stuff like that is more effort, and that is definitely something that I, as director of IT, would like to be a part of. Also, just one additional thought. Again, I can't read it, so sorry if it says this, but just having anything, at least having it be like approved by me before it goes on the website, even if it's a separate page, I would still prefer that like I know about stuff before it happens, and that's just coming from personal experience. People putting things on the website that potentially clash with my own obligations as written in the bylaws. So that's something that I would prefer to have from my experience as director of IT.
I would say that language is very reasonable, and I would encourage a motion, or if somebody else has comments, I'll allow that, and then I would move that myself. I yield.
Brody, could you put in a comment your proposed idea for updating that amendment?
Then we'll come back to you to grab that, all right?
Perfect.
Senator Iona Dimhoff.
I would just like to know what is the election commission's opinion on adding a whole nother rules, adding a website liaison?
So yeah, that was a big discussion at Rules last week. I think the commission believed that the code as was previously written was enough, because there was a provision before that if the director of IT was involved in any campaign that could be impartial, that the commission would already select a replacement. So we believe that part of the language was fine, but we honestly are fine having it done in-house, just as long as it can, I don't know, reconcile with all the different public PR, with the current director of IT. So like EC is fine with this, but we did prefer the previous version. But we're fine with this change. This is a good compromise.
Perfect. Thank you. I yield.
Yeah, let's move on to the next subject and then come back to this. Oh, you have it, okay.
Okay, so I just threw a comment on to the last couple letters in 13.2, just saying add, and then all postings to the official website shall be under the approval and non-conflicting interests of the Director of Information Technology in their prescribed duties. I think that kind of sets it up to allow the current Director of IT to pass things on and get them posted, and also, if it's easier for the approval to come because the person's trained, every single time, and that's the approval, I think that's great. And if it's per posting or per site or per edit, I think that's great as well. And I think that's up to the IT director at this point with this language. So motion to amend 13.2 at the end, including the language I just read.
There's been a motion to amend 13.2, language regarding the IT director's involvement in the election and including them in approval processes. It's been seconded. Are there any objections?
This is just a question, but if the IT director is still going to approve it, then they kind of have the same amount of influence than if they posted it directly there, right? Like, you see what I mean? Because, like, if you have a separate person and they still have to go through the IT director, they still have, like, that say at the end of the day. So I'd say, like, either it should be approved through someone else or we should just stick with the IT director doing it in the first place.
Sorry, yielding to the IT director for this one.
Yeah, that is an excellent point, and I actually do agree. My main concern coming as director of IT is, and again, I do agree with what you're saying with 100%. My concern is with bylaws, keeping everything up to like the standard that I'm held to, as well as IT director works closely with PR pretty consistently to make it all consistent across the whole website with the brand standards and wording and stuff like that. So that's where my concern lies. I absolutely do see how adding that stipulation sort of avoids the whole thing, but also like I do have responsibilities that I need to make sure that the whole website is sort of up to that sort of standard that like I feel like that's my responsibility. So that's sort of where I'm coming from with that. But I do really like the idea of having the website like liaison, because I think that would be super beneficial. But if there's some other solution, I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now. But I do really like this idea. I just worry about the bylaws and keeping up with the brand standards is a constant effort and keeping that link with PR.
Thank you.
Was that an objection to Senator Kuzi's motion or more of a comment?
More of just a comment.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so back to the motion. Oh, go ahead.
Please correct me if I'm missing something, because there's a solid chance that I am. I don't quite see the point of adding this language when in 13.4 already requires the IT director's approval for software or code. Is that specifically because of branding that you want to add that?
I would really hope that someone wouldn't write their information out in software or code. They're very different. So text and then code are going to be very different things. So for example, code would be adding your own, for example, parking ticket relief software, right? Someone submits something, a bunch of people get emails, it does things behind, or sometimes it'll be called under the hood, right? Things that the public wouldn't see. So code would give you major changes to how the website functions, whereas text on a page would be similar to a blog post.
I withdraw.
Senator Dahman, are you making an objection?
No. Motion to remove Senator Kekun from the roll.
There's been a motion to remove Senator Kekun from the roll. It's been seconded. Are there any objections? All right, back to the original motion made by Senator Kuzi. Senator Grafe.
This is a question for IT director. You know how me and you are working on sustainability committee, I'm writing the language and you're putting it on the website? Would that work in a similar way with the website liaison?
I would hope so. And that's, I have a couple of people that I've delegated doing certain things. Like I have the PR at large, Jack, helping me out with a lot of things. And the way that works is I ask him to like update something, or I sort of give him assignments, I guess. And he'll make it, and then he gives me a draft version of it because our website has that functionality. And I just double check, look through it, give him any feedback, and then we publish it when it's ready. So I assume that this would be a very similar process.
Okay, thank you.
Speaker Persley?
Could we potentially change it to be, instead of add all postings to the official website should be under the approval and non-conflicting interests of the director of IT? Can we instead change it to the website liaison must be PR trained by the IT director, and then they're able to access and change the website only during the election season?
Yeah, I think that's definitely room for thought. I really like the idea. The biggest thing is locking down like when we say election season is, and then also requiring that website training from the director of IT happens. I think that's the biggest thing that's at hand. And we can leave it open to say the director of information technology shall approve slates to post to the website rather than some of the technical things, and that can include PR training as they're part of PR committee and those kinds of things, brand standards like we've discussed, and also the technical capabilities of having this privilege. Again, I can make an alternate comment in response to my original one. We can discuss that. Yes.
So I have two thoughts here, sort of like possible solutions. One is just a concern that I have. Is there any language that I couldn't just go in here and change it after the fact anyway? Because like I can edit any page at any time. So like, is there verbiage in here that says that like director of IT can't go into these specific like designated pages? I guess just a concern as far as like the whole point of this is that like director of IT is not partial. So just that was one thought that I had, and another one is it could be possible that like I'm not allowed to change anything. Like I would still like to have like a final approval, but like maybe not be able to change anything of actual substance, and only be able to change formatting and stuff like that. Is it a possible option? Not sure. Just thinking about options here.
Senator Miller?
Yeah, I think it would be best to assume the director of IT is acting in good faith, and if they are acting maliciously, they would be investigated anyway. So I assume there'd be some other avenue to avoid bad faith practices. Correct me if I'm wrong, though.
Is that a comment or objection to the motion? Okay, back to the motion.
We've had really great discussion here, so just reading the motion one more time. That was to amend the rule to say at the end there, all postings to the official website shall be under the approval and non-conflicting interests of the Director of Information Technology in their prescribed duties. I would say with this it'd be yes or no, and then prescribed duties outlines their responsibilities only, and not personal interests, as also clarified by non-conflicting interests. So I think this is pretty solid. If you have other ideas, please propose them. But I'd keep this motion.
Senator Grafe? All right, seeing no further discussion. Speaker Persley?
Okay, I think we're getting a little lost in the weeds here, so I'm going to give you guys a point of information. So Brody, I appreciate all that you are adding to the potential amendment that Rules Committee would be bringing. We could also, instead of getting all convoluted here, we could just vote to shoot down the potential Rules Committee changes and go back to the old language. If Santi wants to show what the old language looks like so people can kind of see it. I personally think that the old language encompasses everything that we want. So if we just want to take a second to look at what the language currently says, and then we could just vote on whether to approve the rules committee change or not.
I'm just gonna wait a second as it gets pulled up.
Yeah, that language should be in the PDF, not in the Word document that you have, but it should be in the PDF that's in the main bill. Yes, I can read it out. So the old 13.2 said, slates may use the Student Government Director of Information and Technology as a resource to help design and publish with a web page. The Director of Information Technology may not be partial to any candidate or slate. If the Director of Information and Technology is an executive slate on a campaign team for an executive slate, endorses a slate, or campaigns for a slate in any other way, they must recuse themselves from the duties of their position that pertain to student government elections for the remainder of the election cycle. The election commissioner may select a replacement to execute these duties.
I like that much better.
Do you withdraw your motion you just made?
Yeah, I'll withdraw the motion with the instead motion to refer to the language that was just read off.
Well, that's already the
Yeah.
language in the bill. You don't need a motion.
So there's no motion. There's no motion right now to add the language unless someone would like to do so. The rules committee language. Senator Ono Dimhoff.
Okay, so then motion to strike the proposed 13.2.
Well,
So
it hasn't even been motioned.
There's been a no motion to add that red text.
Okay.
Yep. Senator Margaret.
I'm so sorry. I would make a motion to add that text just so we can have a vote and vote it up or down.
There's been a motion to add the text regarding Director of Information Technology in red. Is there, I guess, any discussion? Is there a second? Sorry. Are there any objections? All right, how would we like to vote? Placard vote has been called for.
What is this?
Yeah.
A vote yes is for the rules committee change, a vote no is to keep the same.
Yeah.
So a vote yes is
Here.
for the red writing, a vote no.
A vote yes is for the red writing. A vote no is to keep it how it was originally intended.
All right. Placard vote it is. All those in favor? All right. Those opposed? Those abstaining? With a vote of 1 to 18 to 0. With a vote of 2 to 17 to 0, the motion fails.
Okay, that's all the Rules Committee proposed changes. Now we can talk about the bill as a whole.
Senator Gertis.
Can we have a discussion about the removal of private funding? Why was that again? I know you mentioned it was an equity issue. Can you elaborate, please?
Yeah, I think this is something that private funding is also something EC tried to get rid of last year just because there wasn't really a point to it, but I think an equity issue came up last election. I think we felt that it puts candidates in two different kind of positions because one is able to use their personal money and one is able to it might not be in a situation to be able to use that, and that potentially brings into campaigns, well, we paid for ours, so vote for us because we paid for ourselves. And this is something that we wish to see not continue for future elections. So for an equity issue, we want to make sure that candidates are on the exact same spot starting out, and there's this not sort of discussion around wealth, different touchy things like that, because we think that's not fit for student government election. Also, we felt it's better for financial transparency because anybody could just donate to a campaign behind the scenes.
Okay, thank you for clearing that up. Yeah, and I initially did support the idea of removing private funding because of that equity issue. I don't think a campaign that's funded privately should be allowed to criticize another for using student dollars to earn political points. I agree. But after listening to students and considering the broader impact, I now believe there's value in keeping both options available, because not every campaign wants to use student dollars for funding, and having that flexibility can be a good thing if handled responsibly. Sorry, I just did this today, so I'm gonna read this. To get student input, I spoke with several of my constituents today, and I also ran a poll on my Senate Instagram. Out of 36 responses, 20 supported removing private funding, while 16 wanted to keep it. And looking at their feedback specifically, some liked that private funding saves student money, others supported keeping both systems, but with rules to ensure fairness, and a few wanted private funding gone entirely because of those equity concerns. But based on what I've heard, I think the best approach is to keep both options, but with clear stipulations, like prohibiting campaigns from using their funding status as leverage against another, and requiring transparency about where their private funds are coming from. At the very least, I encourage the Election Commission to at least take some time to maybe survey the students before making a permanent change, because this is a decision that affects all students, and I think their voices should be front and center. Thank you. I yield.
Senator Ivan Dimhoff.
I just wanted to say that I am in full support of eliminating the privately funded campaigns. I think this really goes down to the whole point of transparency, and it's imperative that we do eliminate private funding because private funding doesn't allow us to follow the money as easily, and also this would just make it so there's no possibility of any kind of outside influence in our campaigns and our elections here in the student government. And I'd also just like to thank the Election Commission for taking the time to go through, and I really appreciate all the changes to the code. Thank you. I yield.
Senator Miller.
Santi, in rules, last week you mentioned it was difficult to track private campaign expenses, and if you'd like to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, and to Senator Gertie's point, it's really, really difficult to track that kind of spending. So the example that I brought up is, say, that if Chad was running for student government president and then Christine wanted to see some kind of policy passed, she could just pass the money directly to Chad's personal bank account, and then Chad would just submit his own check under his name to the Election Commission, and we'd have no idea where that money actually came from, because there's no way I can monitor Chad's bank account. That's a little bit intrusive. We're not the FBI. We're not the actual government with that kind of power, so it's really, really impossible for us to keep an eye on where that's coming from, because that could come from, in this case, it's an advisor to an advisor, but it could come from an outside organization, an outside group that wants to have some sort of influence. And just public funding, you know where it's coming from. It's coming from student activity fees, and that's something that's approved by Senate every single year.
Senator Kuzi.
I guess I just moved to open the floor for discussion. But also have a question. So I guess if anyone's interested in seconding that, just give us. Okay, sorry about that. So with private funding, in your experience, are donations allowed? So if somebody's running as a slate, they talk to people, they have a tip jar out, can they take donations and then use that to, use less required student dollars? Is that possible right now?
No, you have to choose either to be either fully privately funded or fully public funded. You can't just do half and half. But yes, if you are a privately funded campaign and you choose to privately fund your entire campaign, you could accept donations from the public. You would just have to report it to the Election Commission and deposit it in the Election Commission account. But if it's done behind the scenes through just your personal bank accounts, we can't track that.
Okay, and then have you explored ways to, like you said, facilitate it through our accounts that we know about, or Election Commission knows about, with private funding, but still, kind of collecting those things, and then have that be a stipulated requirement of the slate, if that makes sense? And I'm confusing myself, so I'm gonna say that one more time, just for your sake. So someone collects donations, could we set requirements instead that would require them to go to the student government tracked account instead of a personal private account? And then use that as means for tracking. That's a requirement. If you find out otherwise, then you're punished.
Sure, yeah, just to clarify, all private funding already goes directly into the Election Commission account that we have with Campus Org Accounting. So if you want to use $1,000 of your own money, you will write a check to Election Commission and you'll deposit it, and that's where you'll spend your money from. But the problem, the point that I made is more if you, behind the scenes, move the money to your personal account, and then from your personal account, then you move it to the Election Commission account, which is where you can spend it. That first transaction we cannot track. But yeah, the current system already works that supposedly if you're going to receive a donation, it has to be done. They would have to write a check to the Election Commission, but there's no way to know if they actually did that or not, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think there's a lot of things related to clarity there and transparency that I think could be the concern, and I think that's why you've pursued this. What solutions have you explored otherwise to keep the transparency there, whether it's a rule eliminating that, right? If you specifically say you cannot collect funds into a personal account and then write a check, right? So your name's on the check and that kind of thing. Are there rules like that? Have you considered that possibility?
Sure, that would be possible, but just to think back to our discussion over Yik Yak, that'd be an unenforceable rule, because sure, we could say that you couldn't put it in your own personal account, but if you did, we don't have power to actually monitor that you're following that rule. We don't have a subpoena power to be able to be checking into your account and monitoring what transactions are coming in. So yeah, we could theoretically do that, but there's no way that we could enforce that and make sure that that's being followed, because all we will see on our end is the candidate check that's coming in that says written by Santi Fajardo for such and such campaign. We have no way to know if that money came from somewhere else, because we just don't have a way to monitor someone's bank account. If there was, that'd be invasive, but that's just not within the commission's power to be able to track that other end.
Okay, follow-up to that. What do you think about, or have you thought about, removing the possibility of candidates personally funding? So, I couldn't write a check to my campaign personally, but a relative, another student could, or they could give, like I said, a tip jar. Have you considered that at all?
Well, the problem with that is the same problem stands, because it might be your aunt, but then you could move the money through your aunt, and then your aunt can then move the money to the Election Commission account, or say somebody of your aunts that wants to see a particular policy, or somebody of yours that wants to see a particular policy, you can just say, hey, give the money to my aunt, and then my aunt will move it. So we still run into the same problem that we don't know the actual source of that money.
Okay, thank you. I yield.
Senator Neal, Senator Speaker Persley.
I would also like to note that Rules Committee talked about this issue for a long time and ended up on a vote to keep the rules to get rid of private funding. This was very, very thoroughly discussed, and that's what Rules Committee thought was best with our rules. I will also say, from my personal perspective, these student dollars are already being allocated to Election Commission every year. This money is already allocated from the previous year for enough public funding for 3 slates. So I will say that we already do have the money allocated. And I also agree with Election Commission that it just makes our elections more fair and trackable. It gives everyone the same playing field and makes it very fair.
Senator Neal.
I really appreciate the discussion that we've had on this topic. This is really important, and I especially want to thank the Election Commission and Rules for taking such a thorough look at this. I just wanted to voice my support for the striking of private funding for the transparency reasons, of course, but also every student deserves an equitable opportunity to represent their fellow students and to make a difference on campus. And if we can make that easier and make that a reality, I believe we should take every step we can to make that reality.
Senator Graybill.
This is kind of piggybacking off of Senator Neal, but we are trying to mimic the American government, but also I think be better, especially now. And part of the reason that we see so much divide right now is because of this private funding that can't be tracked in the real government. So I think if we are going to hold ourselves to those standards and strive for better, we should support this bill to strike private funding. Thank you.
Senator Kuzi.
I really like that idea. I think it's especially relevant today. So Speaker Percy, you said, there's money that's already allocated, but to my understanding, allocated does not mean spent. So $6,000, if it's 2 by 3 slates is $6,000. Right now we're seeing our Senate discretionary and other accounts, getting very close to the end, and organizations and different groups are asking for funding. So I guess what happens to the extra money when that isn't spent, or there isn't a third slate, for example? And anybody can answer that.
It goes back to our Senate discretionary, which really has nothing, or not Senate discretionary, I mean special projects, which really has nothing to do with Senate discretionary.
Okay, and then I guess at this time I'd ask, kind of like my other question previously, are there current presidents or vice presidents or past or candidates, I guess slates in the room, which would like to speak to their experiences and this impact? Again, I'll yield time on that. Yeah, I'll yield to Colby.
Thank you. I think that it should just be a choice for students. Will and I, it's no secret, we chose to be a privately funded campaign. That was a choice we made, and it's up to students to make that same choice for them and what aligns with their missions. We're not opposed to cutting public funding, but we just want students to be able to pick. I think it's important that students be surveyed as this decision gets made.
I'll yield with that. Thank you.
Senator Gertis.
Well, I want to thank the Election Commission, and I think I can speak for all of Senate that we appreciate the work you do, and we appreciate the effort you put into making student government elections more transparent and fair for all involved. Our elections should reflect fairness and transparency, and I think the best way to do that is to ask the students themselves. I understand the concerns about tracking where funds are coming from, but I believe that any option that saves student dollars is a fair option. I also think it's a great point that making public funding the only option levels the playing field, and we know that that money is allocated anyway. However, I still stand by what I said earlier. Leave it to the students to decide. Thank you.
Senator Gertis, would you like to make a motion?
I make a motion to undo the striking of all references to private funding in the election code.
So there's been a motion to add back all the language regarding private funding in the election code. Is that right, Senator Gertis? Add back all the language previously there regarding private funding.
Yes, that's what I said, but I still believe we should survey the students first.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's an option for the Election Commission to take time to do that.
So there's been a motion to add back all the previous language regarding private funding, and in the same motion, ask the Election Commission to survey students regarding this topic.
Thank you.
There's been a second? Go ahead. Is there a second? Go ahead.
Just an objection. Let's go into conversation about it.
Okay.
I assume I was first. Yes. Okay. Just discussion on this. I really like Senator Gertis' idea on this. I think surveying the students on this topic can be especially relevant. I think it can speak especially to what the students are thinking, how times change. From my understanding, this is a change that was made without the student polling, and by that I mean all students, not just those that represent people, and that set people in this room. So I would be in favor of polling the students, but that requires, I think, that this should be back in or reverted, so to speak, and then the students are polled, and then it can be removed or changed or amended once we have results. Right now, it's just been changed, with my knowledge, to none of that polling of the whole student body.
Senator Iona Dimhoff.
I just want to reiterate the gravity of what the trail that the money takes on its way through going to making its way to the campaign, a privately funded campaign, really has. It can really impact the outcome and what the money is used for, and just where the money is coming from. That trail is so important in terms of transparency, and as elected officials, transparency should be our top priority in everything that we do. I think that this year our student government is really focusing on transparency with how we're spending money in basically just all of our facets. Everything we do, we post all of our voting records. We're very up to date on the website. So I think that including the removal of privately funded campaigns is just another step in us continuing that pathway that we are currently on. I yield.
Speaker Persley.
I would just like to make the point that senators are voted in by their constituents to represent all students, and that is why we're here. We don't collect a poll on every single decision we make, and I don't think we necessarily need to do that here. You are all voted in to represent your constituents, and it's each senator's job to talk to their constituents as they see fit on different votes. And so if you're already representing all the students, shouldn't you be voting in the way your constituents would think?
Senator Curtis.
Yes, Speaker Persley, I would agree with that. We are here to represent our constituents, and I think that's exactly what I'm doing. And I have talked to the constituents as I see fit, and to them, this is also a divisive issue. And I think that's why it's important to talk about it. I think everybody here has made fantastic points about the cons of private funding and the pros, and vice versa. But as I said before, I'll reiterate, I think it's important to talk to the constituents because a lot of them are still in favor of having that privately funded campaign as an option. And I don't think those voices should be ignored. I yield.
Senator Jones.
I'm a big fan for transparency. I think it's important that we know where our money is going towards and how it's being spent. Going off of talking to your constituents, you should be doing this before the bill is on second read. Because we're here to debate the bill as a whole, you're supposed to come with your opinions to Senate from your constituents. You should be reaching out to them by the time the bill is on first read, to the time the bill is talked about in Senate on second read. I will be voting to remove private funding because I believe that we should be transparent in everything that we do. Yeah.
Senator Kuzi.
Just a high-level overview of my perspective. Right now, there has been change without the vote of the people in this room. We keep talking about voting yes or no, for or against. Right now, we're seeing this change without our vote, yes or no, one way or another, whatever the vote is. But the change has been made. My motion is to add, I'm sorry, we're still in the discussion there. My agreement is with adding the language back how it was, so then we can decide to remove it. I don't want to set a precedent that election commission can.
Unfortunately, it's the end of debate unless there's a motion to extend it.
Motion to extend debate.
There's been a motion to extend debate. Is there a second? Are there any objections? Senator Margaret? Okay, that's the second one of yours now. On. Yes. Okay, is there any discussion regarding extending discussion? Senator Jones.
I was first.
I think we've talked about this at length, and I think we're ready to vote on this amendment bill, whatever, but
Vote on the amendment. Yeah.
I think
So
ending
do you,
discussion to vote on this amendment would be beneficial to us all, because I think we've.
Discussion on the bill as a whole.
yeah, the discussion on the bill as a whole is
then
over.
yes.
Yeah. So you're arguing against the objection, against the motion to extend debate. So Senator Kuzi, it sounds like you have further comment regarding extending discussion on this bill.
Yes, clearly we don't know where we're at. I think extending discussion allows us to discuss. Stopping discussion does not allow us to discuss, and keeps it as it is. As I was saying, this is change without approval. I would like change with approval. So having this discussion would allow us to proceed.
Senator Neal.
Senator Kuzi, I really do appreciate your passion for this bill. I don't know if talking in circles about the same 3 points is going to be helpful to us any longer. We all know what we're talking about. I trust that all of us have reached out to our constituents and have thought thoroughly about this bill as it is on second read. You have the ability to vote no on the bill as a whole if you deem that fit and believe that is in the best interest of your constituents, but I do not believe that extended debate will be helpful at this point in time.
Senator Miller.
I agree with Senator Gudis. I would prefer to see hard statistical data about.
We're still just on the motion to extend debate.
Oh, okay.
So we'll be back to that soon, but we're on the motion to extend debate. Seeing no further discussion on the motion to extend debate, you had an objection, Senator Jones, I believe. All right, do you withdraw your objection? All right, so the motion, oh, is your objection. Do you withdraw your objection? All right, we're gonna vote on the objection for the motion to extend debate.
Point of information, what is a vote yes for and what is a vote no for?
A vote, oh boy, a vote yes is to agree, a vote yes is to end debate. A vote no is to continue debate. Or essentially go back to vote again on Senator Kuzi's motion to extend debate. So yes is continue debate, no is end debate. Yes. Yes is to end debate, no is to continue debate. All right. We'll go, a placard vote. All those in favor? Roll call.
Okay, in this roll call vote, voting yes is to end debate on this bill as a whole, and voting no means to extend debate and continue the conversation that we were having.
Roll call vote has already been called for. Iona Dimhoff.
Yes.
Gertis.
No.
Grafe.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Miller.
No.
Dahman.
Yes.
Corshi.
Yes.
Hartley.
Yes.
Margaret.
Yes.
Nandal.
Yes.
Firstly.
Yes.
Neal. Kuzi.
No.
Gardy.
Yes.
Saney.
Yes.
Graybill.
Yes.
Bernal.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Lima Barbosa.
Yes.
Einwalter.
Yes.
With a vote of 17 to 3 to 0, we end debate. So We're not, are we still back to Senator Curtis's motion?
Just,
Okay.
I believe my motion was the most recent with,
No, we're over today.
of discussion. So now we're on the motion to vote.
No, that was part of the debate. That was part of the debate. Now we're voting on it.
Just to kind of add a piece of information to that, my understanding is the 45-minute time limit, or whatever it is in our new bylaws, has exceeded for the bill as a whole. And so unless there was a motion to extend debate, we would move straight into a vote, and the motion to extend debate has not passed, so we would move straight into a vote on the bill as a whole. Is that correct? Yes.
Now move forward with a roll call vote. On the bill as a whole. Iona Dimhoff?
Yes.
Gertis? Grafe? Jones? Miller? Dahman?
Yes.
Corshi? Hartley?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Nandal?
Yes.
Pursley?
Yes.
Neal?
Yes.
Kuzi?
No.
Gardy?
Yes.
Saney? Graybill?
Yes.
Bernal?
Yes.
Valenzuela?
Yes.
Lima Barbosa?
Yes.
Einwalter?
Yes.
With a vote of 17 to 1 to 0, the bill passes.
That's it?
Is that two things?
Oh, 17 to 1 to 2, apologies. With a vote of 17 to 1 to 2, the bill passes. We'll now move to 2025-2-038F, funding for late billing for Trend Magazine printing with Senator Nandal.
Okay, so this bill was seen favorably by Finance and it's on the second read.
Senator Jones.
Hey friends, it's me again. If you were just wondering why we're seeing a Trend Magazine bill again, the wording was wrong with COA and they asked us to rewrite it so our bills can go through. So as you can see, you scroll down to the second last enacted line, it rescinds the one we approved before. Nothing changed number-wise, we're just changing the wording a little bit to go through COA.
Senator Dahman.
What was the issue with the previous bill?
The wording.
Any more specifics or no?
I can't get much into more specifics because I don't have the exact details that NOAA has, but it's recommended by COA, the wording we have now, and by NOAA, the wording we have now to get through, just to pass the bill. Nothing has changed as number-wise, like, it's still the same, just the wording a little bit. I would reach out to NOAA.
Thank you.
Senator Lima Barbosa.
If I remember correctly, it was something about we cannot pay dues. So that's why we had to change the wording since we're not paying a due, we're just some different wording, but we cannot assume a due.
Basically, we can't pay for debts, but we can pay for late billing, i.e. NOAA just texted me this.
So call the question and seconded. Are there any objections? Closing comments? No closing comments. We'll now move forward with a roll call vote. Iona Dimhoff?
Yes.
Gertis?
Yes.
Grafe?
Yes.
Jones? Miller,
Yes.
Dahman,
Yes.
Corsi, Hartley,
Yes.
Margaret,
Yes.
Nundahl,
Yes.
Persley,
Yes.
Neal, Kuzi,
Yes.
Gardy, Saney, Graybill, Bernal,
Yes.
Valenzuela,
Yes.
Lima Barbosa, Walter.
Yep.
With a vote of 20 to 0 to 0, the bill passes. Seeing no internal matters, we'll now move to special orders, starting with 2025-2-007 SD, seating a Cal Senator with Senator Miller.
Yes, we saw Jacob Schilling in rules last week and moved to send him favorably here. If he'd like, if he's here, he would like to come up and speak.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jacob Schilling, and I am a sophomore in agronomy. And some of the various things I'm involved in is Collegiate Cattlemen's Club, Agronomy Club, Iowa Corn Club, and Farm Ops Club. I'm also a member of Alpha Gamma Rho Professional Fraternity. And over the course of this past semester, I've been a member of Homecoming Central's Sci Squad, and I was on their Food on Campus subcommittee. So that big tent that was in the middle of Central Campus all week, last week, I helped put on that event. Why I want to be a senator is I want to serve Cal's because to make the students feel well represented and just to have a representative who listens, puts in the work, follows through, and listens to their constituents. I believe that many students are not aware of the resources and funding that is available to them. And my goal at the end of, well, either tonight or at the end of my term is to approach this position as I would with agriculture, with consistency, practicality, and the long term in mind.
Speaker Persley.
Okay, Jacob. I know you have a lot of obligations, it sounds like you're very involved. So can you explain to us a little bit about how you're going to prioritize your time and your schooling with all the other things that you're a part of?
So with homecoming, now that homecoming's over, I was busy all last week from 8 in the morning till 11:30 at night. Now that homecoming's over, I don't have to do that anymore. That's not as big of a time constraint. And with that, like clubs-wise, I go to majority of the meetings, but homecoming took up a lot of time with that, and classwork normally isn't an issue.
Senator Jones.
Do you have any committees you want to be on and/or projects you want to look into?
So I haven't looked into projects, but some committees are like the PR committee or the mental or health and wellness committee. So with the PR committee, it's just getting that information out there to students that these resources are available to them. And with the health and wellness committee, like Cal's students in general have a nose down, get the job done attitude, right? And just making some students aware that these resources are available to them.
Senator Grafe.
What do you think is the most pressing issue to Cal students at the moment?
Like I was saying, just that they aren't aware of the funding that's available to them and like the opportunities that could be available to them if they had said funding.
Thank you.
Senator Iona Dimhoff.
Thank you so much for speaking tonight. I know that you mentioned that your main concern is just making sure that all of your constituents are aware of what is available to them resource-wise. So do you have any ideas of what you can do to kind of bridge that gap then as a senator?
So like what was mentioned in the beginning of the meeting is actually going out and talking to the students, not just throwing up a picture on Instagram or social media, or not just posting a flyer somewhere. Actually going out, going to these different club meetings and asking the students, hey, what is going on with you guys? What can we do to help?
Very briefly, if Senator Miller would accept a friendly to remove the word hall in the first whereas clause.
My knowledge.
Senator Kuzi.
What are you doing on November 7th, and would you be interested in representing student government at the Cookies with College Senators event?
I'd have to look at my schedule.
Okay, would you be interested?
Sure.
Sounds good, thank you.
Point of information, it's from 9 to 11 a.m.
What day of the week is that?
It's a Wednesday. Yes. Wait, no, it's a Friday.
It's a
Yeah.
It's been called the question and seconded. Are there any objections? Closing comments? Senator Miller?
Placard vote.
Senator Miller called for a placard vote. All those in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? With a vote of 20 to 0 to 0, the bill passes. Congratulations. Can you move closer to the microphone?
Please repeat after me. I solemnly swear or affirm
I solemnly swear or affirm
to execute the duties of my position
to execute the duties of my position
as prescribed in the Constitution
as described in the Constitution
and the laws of the government
and the laws of the government
for the benefit of all students.
for the benefit of all students.
We'll now move to 2025-2-011SC, Executive Nominee for Nonprofit Coordinator with Vice Speaker Hartley.
Quick motion to remove Senator Corshi from the role.
There's been a motion to remove Senator Corshi from the roll.
And motion to add Senator
Are there
Schilling.
any objections to the motion to remove Senator Corshi from the roll? All right, go ahead.
Motion to add Senator Schilling to the role.
Schilling. And there's been a motion to add Senator Schilling to the roll, and it's been seconded. Are there any objections? Thank you. You may begin.
Good afternoon, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nolan Clemisrud. I'm in the Ivy College of Business. I'm a junior, and I'm double majoring in entrepreneurship and marketing. I currently serve as the Vice President of Event Management for the Indian Fraternity Council at Iowa State, where I oversee the approval and auditing of all fraternity-sponsored events, including ensuring compliance with contracts, insurance policies, and university regulations. In this role, I've hosted, supported, and attended various philanthropic events and worked directly with a variety of third-party nonprofit organizations to help make a real impact. Beyond IFC, I also serve as as an officer of the National Administration of my fraternity, Theta Delta Chi, where I oversee chapter operations across the country, helping guide financial planning, leadership development, and accountability standards. Additionally, I sit on the advisory board of the Vice President of Student Affairs, Dr. Toya Younger, where I've gained a deep perspective of university operations and advocated on behalf of students for the past 2 years. I'm incredibly passionate about the student experience here at Iowa State. And this drew my attention Sorry. And this drew my attention to the position as a SIS at the center of something I care deeply about, ensuring that my dollar as a student goes as far as possible. I believe that every cent of our funding should go towards programs that make a measurable difference for students. I work hard to pay my own way through college, which is why I feel it's necessary that organizations that we spend our money on are held accountable to the promise of giving back to our experience. If appointed, I promise to uphold the asset priorities established by student government, ensuring that our funds are directed towards initiatives that align with what students actually want and need. After reviewing the 7 funding priorities set by student government for the financial year 25, I am particularly passionate about supporting 3 areas: rent assistance, assault care, and substance abuse resources. These are issues I have personally seen play an impact on the lives of students and my peers at Iowa State, and know we can make a difference in helping. It is my understanding that many hearings for organizations have already taken place while the position was vacant and filled in by Vice President Wolf Lassick. I intend to not only meet with the remaining groups on the calendar, but also to circle back to those that have already been met with, to ensure that I fully understand their missions, challenges, and impact. I'm a man of actions and not words. I want to roll up my sleeves and personally put in volunteer work with as many of these organizations as possible during my term, so I can get a proper feel for the impact they create outside of just what gets reported on paper. At the end of the day, I'm not here to make promises, I'm here to make a difference. And I am honored to be appointed to this role, and hope that you can all share the faith and confirm me for the position. Thank you.
Speaker Pursley.
Well, Nolan, as you can see, it seems like the Senate was really excited about that speech. What a great speech you wrote. My question for you is, this is a very large time commitment and it's going to be a really big project. How will you prioritize your time and make sure that you give attention to every group that we give our funds to?
100%. I mean, serving in IFC for the past year and being a recruitment chair for my fraternity before that, very large time commitment, day in and day out. I'm in meetings. I'm usually in the SFE office currently, meeting with chapters throughout the day, every day. My Wednesday nights are packed with that as well. Kind of leaving that role, I now have a wide open schedule to give all of my efforts towards this role, and I'm very excited to do so.
Senator Iona Dimhoff.
Thank you for coming and speaking to us tonight. The nonprofit coordinator is required to come to the local affairs committee meeting each week. Are you able to make that meeting? It's every Friday from 4 to 5.
Yes, I am.
It's been called to question and seconded. Are there any objections? Closing comments?
I apologize for not getting my opening comments. It was a little frazzled over here. But I'm excited to have somebody who seems so passionate and dedicated to have in this role. It's very important, and I think you'll do an amazing job. Placard vote.
Placard vote has been called for. All those in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? With a vote of 20 to 0, the bill passes. Congratulations. There's no swearing in for this position. We'll now move to 2025-2-012SC, Executive Nominee for Director of Health and Wellness with Vice Speaker Hartley.
All right, so Briley will come up and share why she would like to be our Director of Health and Wellness.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Briley Gearhart. I am a first-year student here, double majoring in genetics and criminal justice, and I'm honored to have been offered the opportunity to serve as the Director of Health and Wellness, and tonight I want to share why I believe I'm the right person for this position. This committee is already doing some amazing work. I had the honor of attending their meeting last night. And I'm really excited to continue and build on some of the stuff they're doing. One of the main projects they're trying to do right now is the Green Dot Initiative, which aims to get every student at Iowa State involved in the Green Dot program in some way. I love that goal, and I'd like to support ideas like integrating Green Dot trainings into the parking ticket relief program to help reach more students. They're also working to promote a safer bar culture in Ames by collaborating with bar owners to implement the Angel Shot programs. The goal is to make sure all bartenders are aware and prepared for situations while we hope never happens, we must be prepared for. Another great idea they've discussed is providing bars with drink covers, or just students in general. And I'd love to expand on that by designing the covers to include green dot information, and then include something about being funded by student government. That way we can raise awareness while showing students that their government is actively looking to support their safety. Something I'm especially passionate about is mental health awareness. If given this opportunity, I want to continue breaking down the stigma around mental health on campus by sharing information about how common it really is to struggle with your mental health. I think starting these conversations early, like during campus visits, orientation, and Destination Iowa State, can make a big difference. Iowa State already provides great resources, but if students see using these resources as a weakness, they may never reach out for help. I want to change that by normalizing these conversations and encouraging students to use the support available to them. Overall, I believe this position is about more than maintaining programs. It's about building a campus culture where students feel safe, supported, and cared for. I'm ready to put in the work to make that happen and continue growing the amazing initiatives already put in place. Are there any questions?
Speaker person.
Well, I'd just like to mention, at first I'd like to thank you for your speech. It sounds like you're very prepared for this role. Firstly, I would like to mention that the Angel Shot program has been worked on for a couple years now, and I believe most bars and inns have that implemented. I know you're freshmen, so you're probably not at the bars to be able to see that. Just wanted to keep everyone aware of that. Secondly, I know it was kind of discussed before our last director left, but working on some community drive projects with the entirety of student government, such as a winter clothing community drive project with student government members to provide winter clothing to students in need. Would you be interested in doing some projects like that, community drive project?
For sure. I mean, it's great. Great idea.
Thank you.
Senator Kuzi.
So just a little context, just about a month ago, I sent an email to the former Director of Health and Wellness with ideas and suggestions about a sidewalk survey. Are you familiar with what a sidewalk survey would be?
I was forwarded the emails.
Okay, you got them. So with those emails and with that information, do you have an interest in continuing that project or collaborating with that?
Yes, we talked about it actually last night. It was brought up. It's definitely something we're interested in, and it'll continually be brought up at our next couple meetings.
Great, thank you.
It's been called to question and seconded. Are there any objections? Closing comments? Placard vote has been called for. All those in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? Vote of 20 to 0 to 0. The bill passes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll now move to 2025-2-048SG, seating at large to the Public Relations Committee with Senator Gertis.
Yep, this bill intends to seat an at-large to the PR committee, and Brooklyn Kilgard is here to introduce herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Brooklyn Kilgard and I'm a sophomore studying agricultural communications. Here at Iowa State, I'm involved in Sigma Alpha, the Agricultural Communicators of Tomorrow Club, and I'm also a CALS ambassador. I am really excited about the opportunity to serve as an at-large group member on the Public Relations Committee, specifically within the outreach area group. The reason I'm so interested in this position is that I truly believe that student government plays an important role on campus, and I want to help more students understand what it is and what it does for them. I think sometimes students don't realize how much student government really does behind the scenes to make a difference, and I'd love to be someone who helps that connection and share that information in ways that's clear, engaging, and approachable. Overall, I'd love the opportunity to bring my communication skills, positive attitude, and enthusiasm for connecting with others to the outreach committee. I'm confident that I can help promote student government in ways that make students feel more informed, involved, and excited about what's happening on campus. I'm open to any questions.
Speaker Pursley.
Yep, I'm just saying that there is a bylaw being waived in this bill, just wanted to draw people's attention to that. It looks like in the whereas and ordered clause, it makes sense, we've done this for other committees, so I don't think that should be an issue waiving that bylaw.
Senator Saney.
Thanks for being here today, and I really like your perspective, how you want to increase outreach, what student government does behind the doors, and really make an impact and talk about the students, make it approachable. So what are some ideas that you have decided on or not, or you might have, that you want to take up or do to increase outreach to students on campus?
Yeah, so I really like to just go out and talk to people, and so I just really think that what has been talked really about earlier tonight, just going out and connecting with the students is a really important thing. That's how I connect with others, so I think that by me going out and doing that within this committee would be really good, and I really think that I could do it really effectively as well.
It's been called a question and seconded. Are there any objections? Closing comments?
Yeah, I just want to put my full support behind Brooklyn because she's shown consistent interest and enthusiasm practically since the election in the spring about joining student government. And I'm happy that it's finally coming true. So with that, I encourage everybody to vote yes.
Thank you.
Placard vote has been called for. All those in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? The vote of 20 to 0 to 0. The bill passes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll now move to 2025-2-049 SG, seating at large two legislative ambassadors with Senator Nandal.
Okay, so we're going to be seeing two at-larges being Sadu legislative ambassadors. So it's Violet Bode and Leila De Leon. I asked them to approach the podium and tell us why they're interested in joining.
Hello, my name is Violet Bode. I'm a sophomore here studying, Human Resource Management and Agricultural and Rural Policy Studies. And I'm involved in SHRM, which is Society for Human Resource Management, the Ag Policy Club here, and I'm a member of Delta Sigma Pi, a professional business fraternity here on campus. And last year I had the opportunity to serve as the Vice President of Mabel Hall, so that was kind of a fun experience. And I'm interested in joining this committee because I really want to advocate for Iowa State students. I'm a full student in both the College of Business and the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, so I see a lot of different student perspectives, and I'd really like to bring them to real life.
Hi everybody, my name is Leila De Leon, and I'm a freshman here at Iowa State studying political science on the pre-law track. I'm part of First Year Leadership League of SALC and Chi Omega Sorority, and I'm looking forward to my role as legislative ambassador. I'm mainly very interested in this position because I have experience with being an intern in a local state senator's office over in Illinois this past summer, and it really got me thinking into being involved with the constituents and being able to be out there and make an impact in my community. So that's mainly why I'm very excited for this role.
It's been called a question. Is there a second? It's been seconded. Are there any objections? Closing comments? UC has been called for. Placard vote has been called for. All those in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? The vote of 20 to 0 to 0. The bill passes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll now move to 2025-2-050 SG, seating at larges two legislative ambassadors with Senator Nandal.
Okay, so we're going to see Sadie Bays, Sadie Richter, and Sabrina Olson. Director Meyer is going to speak on Sabrina Olson's behalf, and they can tell you more about themselves.
Hi, thank you for having me tonight. My name is Sadie Bays. I'm a junior here at Iowa State. My major is Ag Studies, and that I have the multidisciplinary option with emphasis areas in agronomy, ag business, and general business, with a general business minor as well. Although I'm a junior, it's my first year here at Iowa State. I transferred from community college in Central Illinois. I started getting involved in advocacy through my job at home. When I was in community college, I got to work with little kids at an after-school program and then again in a summer camp program. And seeing how much they didn't know about the ag industry really got me interested in ag policy, and going back to the Washington Leadership Conference when I was a junior in high school really got it all started. I'm especially interested in talking to legislators about the Iowa Workforce Grant for out-of-state students and how that can really help them.
Hi everyone, I am a freshman in agricultural business and international agriculture studies, and I am interested in being a legislative ambassador because I want to learn more about what issues really affect Iowa State students and how we can work with the local government to help really achieve what will make our students' experiences better. I am involved in the Political Science Club, the Econ Club, and the Cultural Ambassadors Program, and I always am excited to learn more about others' point of views and what is important to them.
Beautiful. Okay, I'm speaking on behalf of Sabrina. She's currently a sophomore majoring in political science and international studies with a minor in German. She's involved with music on campus with the Iowa State University Marching Band, where she serves as a section guide and is a member of the women's basketball pep band. This past summer, she had the fulfilling experience of spending 9 weeks studying abroad in Scandinavia, where she was able to explore different aspects of political science. Through this opportunity, she learned about the importance of promoting the community's desires and requests. Working with the community and advocating for its betterment creates trust between citizens and the government. Her second experience that contributed to her interest in legislative ambassadors was a recent conference she was selected to attend at West Point Military University, which discussed the United States national and foreign security. The end product of this conference was the creation of a policy brief in collaboration with a roundtable group, and this experience provided her with insight into policy and the various factors that come into play when researching, discussing, and writing a policy memo or brief. Ultimately, she believes the position of legislative ambassadors is extremely important and service-oriented, which is why she's drawn to the opportunity. She's able to advocate for problems around the Iowa State campus and positively impact the lives of her peers and fellow students. Being passionate about civil service is a principle she holds high in high regard, so being able to find ways to make a genuine, impactful difference for the students at Iowa State is something she would love to be involved in. Additionally, gaining experience speaking with elected officials will enhance her communication and critical thinking skills, which are distinct from those developed in the classroom and offer an opportunity unlike any other at Iowa State. And she thanks you all for your time.
Senator Grafe.
First and foremost, I think you all are great candidates. And I really appreciate your guys' ag background. But I would highly employ that the next at-larges that are put on the legislative ambassadors are from more diverse majors. Just because, you never know who you're talking to at the Capitol or in your government community. And if we're also focused on pioneering ag policies, that might become an issue, networking. So, thank you.
Senator Kuzi.
Could the two of you, and then Emily, if you know, could you say again where you're from?
Yeah, I'm from Central Illinois, so if you know where Peoria is, I'm about a half hour northwest of there, a really small town called Princeville.
I'm from Hudson, Wisconsin, which is on the St. Croix River, and it is about a 40-minute drive from the Twin Cities in Minnesota.
I don't have it memorized, but I would have to go back and look into my notes. That wasn't a question that I memorized from her background.
Sure. Kind of the reason for the question is, I guess another question. With the two of you not being from Iowa, how will you build a relationship with legislators who represent specific areas to Iowa, even though you're not from them?
Yeah, although I'm not from Iowa, I have a lot of family that's from here and from Eastern Iowa specifically. So hearing a lot of their needs and, just going to family Christmases and seeing my family around, just knowing how important that is to them and building that on relationships with the legislators here and talking to them, saying like, I have a connection and I still want to carry that back to my home state as well.
Although I may not have much connection to those in Iowa, I believe that just being on this campus and meeting other people from Iowa who have that connection, I can learn more about their experiences. And also just by meeting and networking with other people who are in the Iowa government through legislative ambassadors, I can learn more about the Iowa culture and what is important to the people who live here.
I guess I just want to add that we have legislative ambassadors both from Iowa and out of Iowa, and Iowa State students come from in Iowa and out of Iowa, and one of our priorities is advocating for the Iowa Workforce Grant, expanding that to out-of-state students, and so having people with that background is going to be really important, and I think that being able to make connections with people, it doesn't matter if you're from the same place or the same state, it's how you go about those conversations, and this group that I've put together, and through all their interviews, they all have great communication skills, and I think are going to be great at advocating with, these Iowans at the state level.
It's been called a question and seconded. Are there any objections? Closing comments? Placard vote has been called for. All those in favor? Thank you. Those opposed? A vote of 20 to 0 to 0. The bill passes. Congratulations. We will now move to 2025-2-051 SG, seating Senator to the Rules Committee with Vice Speaker Hartley.
All right, so Josie and I selected our final rules member, and the reason I wanted to add this to this week's agenda was just because we are going over so many important things, and we will be interviewing 4 new senators this next week, so having as many voices on rules as possible would be amazing.
Good. As much as I would love to give my talk to you all in the mask, I don't think I'd be able to properly communicate, so I'm just going to do it here. So the main reason I want to be a part of Rules Committee is that I want to be an important voice in these upcoming constitutional and bylaw changes. I know, once again, that will be primarily discussed tomorrow within the next few weeks, and I want to be able to provide my input, since I know there are still parts of the Constitution that haven't been resolved yet, such as what is going to happen with the financial director position as a whole. So I'd like to be able to offer my input into that. I would also have a focus on the project. It's the baby bylaws, and I know as the Constitution and bylaw changes, that is going to have to change alongside it. So I want to be able to at least offer my input and help change those, because I find that to be one of the most helpful things so far, being able to read through the baby bylaws, understand what at least each amendment and sections do, and then, of course, then delve into the actual bylaws to get a further understanding. Any questions?
Speaker Persley.
I'd like to say that although this position was contested, I think Bain is such a great choice for this position. He's expressed interest in Rules Committee since the very beginning, and I think he'd be a great addition to the Rules Committee as someone that's so passionate about our rules and being a part of this committee.
Senator Margaret.
Well, first of all, really appreciate the costume commitment. I think that has to be said at some point. But I'm just broadly curious if there are any other things beyond the finance director and the treasurer position that you might be interested in changing or influencing as far as the Constitution changes go. So
I had to, during the Constitutional Convention, I had to leave halfway through so I could attend the IRHA meeting. So I wasn't able to be able to listen to what happened after that. I was forwarded the email of the constitutional changes that were proposed, and so I've been trying to go through that and see what else I can offer input, though I'm still making my way through there, because at the same time I am trying to finish off reading the Constitution and the bylaws, so I'm able to offer my input and get a good compare and contrast of what is being changed.
It's been called a question and seconded. Are there any objections? Closing comments? Placard vote has been called for. All those in favor? With a vote of 19 to 0 to 0, the bill passes. Congratulations. Seeing no general orders, we will now move to new business, starting with 2025-2-039F, AAAA Asset Admin Allocation Act with Senator Jones.
Just so you know, I was not the one who named this bill, but this is on first read, so Finance Committee will see it next week. You're allowed to ask me yes or no questions.
Noah just messaged.
Senator Saini.
We're waiving the first read on this one.
What?
We're waiving the
Oh.
first read on this one.
That's right, we are waiving first read.
So, motion to waive the first read on this one, and if whosoever it may concern, the reason is that we need to get this bill in the October cycle before the November billing cycle begins on November 1st.
There's been a motion to waive first read on this bill. Is there a second? Are there any objections? Senator Lima Barbosa.
It's more of like an opinion that I want to express. I think we're passing too much bills, financial bills in first read, and I personally don't like that. I think that sets a precedent, and I understand the need for this one. We talked in the committee, and I agreed. I just feel like we should stop and think that we should not be doing this for every bill that easy that we're doing. Just something I wanted to express. I am going to vote yes because Noah explained it to me, but I just wanted to express this.
So are there any objections? All right, we'll now move into a roll call vote to waive first read on this bill. Iona Dimhoff? Yes. Gertis? Yes. Grafe? Yes. Jones? Miller? Yes. Dahman? Yes. Qureshi? Hartley? Yes. Margaret? No. Nundall? Persley? Yes. Neal? Kuzi? No. Gardy? Saini? Graybell? Bernal? Valenzuela? Lima Barbosa? Einwalter? Schilling? With a vote of 17 to 2 to 1, we'll waive first read on this bill. We'll now move into debate on the bill as a whole. Speaker Persley.
Okay, if you didn't get a chance to look over this bill this week, I know our Finance Committee and Finance Director were trying to disseminate information about this bill to as many people as possible so they could understand what it meant. I would definitely implore us to pass this bill. It is very important, and it's important that we fund asset as we have intended to.
Senator Kuzi.
I'm just going to yield time to Eric Rolls.
Thank you. Sorry to make this longer than it needs to be, but whilst I do agree with the idea of this bill, I don't agree with the wording. I think the wording is wrong. In the first two whereas clauses, it's stating that this is an allocation error. This was not an allocation error. From being an asset liaison for 2 years, having first-hand experience with nonprofit coordinator for 2 years, we as liaisons don't allocate any money to the asset team during the allocation process. We only allocate money to the organizations. This is something that gets handled outside of the liaisons, I don't know, point of view. From what I've known in the past 2 years, this is handled on the FD and advisor side.
I would like to make a point of information. This bill references 2025-3-006F, where we did exactly what's mentioned in the whereas clause. If you'd like to look at the bill, it's right. It's right there.
Still on your speaking privilege, Senator Kuzi?
That directed to me?
Yeah, the time's still yielded to you.
I know because I made that bill. Those are our asset recommendations for funding organizations, which is not part of the asset team.
Hold the mic closer.
So as I understand it, just so everyone can be on the same page, there's a difference that's being described as between allocations and the administrator. Is that correct? Okay, and I believe the person who wrote the old bill just spoke, and yes, I see him as the author there. If there's other discussion on this, we can pursue that. At this point, I'll yield.
It's been called a question and seconded. Are there any objections? All right, closing comments? Senator Jones, any closing comments? All right. We'll now move forward with a roll call vote. Iona Dimhoff? Yes. Gertis? Yes. Grafe? Yes. Jones? Yes. Miller? Yes. Dahman? Yes. Corshi? Hartley? Yes. Margaret? Nandal? Persley?
Yes.
Neal? Yes. Kuzi? Gardy? Yes. Saini? Yes. Graybill? Yes. Bernal? Yes. Valenzuela? Yes. Lima Barbosa? Yes. Einwalter? Yes. Schilling? Yes. Margaret? Abstain. Kuzi?
Yes.
With a vote of 18 to 0 to 2. Yes, with a vote of 18 to 0 to 2, the bill passes. We'll now move to 2025-2-040F, Committee on Lectures Additional Funding Request with Vice Speaker Hartley.
All right, so this is a bill to give additional funding to the Committee on Lectures. I'm the author of this bill because I am on the Lectures Committee representing student government, as well as Will and Lauren Berriger. This will be seen in Finance next Tuesday, and if you have any yes or no questions, we have a representative here to answer them.
Seeing no questions, we will now move to 2025-2-041F, replenishing Senate discretionary with Senator Saini.
The intent of this bill is to replenish the Senate discretionary account, and as we have previously noticed that we are running short on funds in that account, and this has been directed by the finance director, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Speaker Pursley.
Do we believe that this will be enough funds to make sure we are covered for the rest of the session?
Yes, I believe so. And I also believe if the finance director has come up to this amount, and there might be some discussions with the advisors as well before he came up to this amount.
Senator Kuzi.
I think there's been a lot of financial discussions tonight with the finance director gone. So my question is, do you know if the finance director will be here next week to answer questions on these bills that are on second read? If they will be here, please say yes. If not, say no.
Yes.
Thank you.
Senator Lima Barbosa.
Just so you know, we meet every Tuesday from 5:30 to 6:30 in the Memorial Union. If you want to come up and speak with him in person at the meeting when we have more time, we would be more than welcome to have you there.
Seeing no further discussion, we will now move to 2025-2-042F, funding CAL's connection with Senator Jones.
Hey friends, again, we'll see this in first read on Tuesday next week. You can ask me yes or no questions.
Speaker Pursley. Seeing no further discussion, we will now move to 2025-2-043F, funding the DUBH with Senator Saini. WH with Senator Saini.
So the intent of this bill is to fund Dub H for practice space and end of semester showcase venue, which they do every year. And this bill is on the first read, and we'll see in the finance committee next week. And I'm able to answer any questions.
Alrighty, seeing no further discussion, we're at the bottom of our agenda. Are there any closing comments for the group? Senator Gertis? Or Senator Jones, if you'd like to go first, that's okay.
Hi friends, it was a really great discussion tonight. I'm really proud of each one of you for voicing your opinions and doing what you're supposed to do for your constituents. I have two notes. I would really love if you guys have more questions on the finance bills that are on second read. If you do come to our finance meetings, like Sophia said, they are on Tuesdays at 5:30. We can send you the room. That shouldn't be an issue. I would love to have you guys sit in our meetings, ask us questions about it. You're more than welcome to ask us questions here at Senate, but I really want, if you want to dive deeper into questions, like the specifics, please come to our finance meetings. They're open to anyone, and you can sit in. Will comes to our meetings, Claire and Trishti. So please come sit in our meetings. And the second thing is, I would really encourage each one of you to, if you have questions, like very specific questions about bills that are on second read, I encourage you to go after first read to go talk to that person individually that wrote that bill, to ask them to inquire more about their bill, to learn more. But overall, great discussion tonight. I'm really proud of each one of you guys.
Senator Curtis.
I agree with Senator Jones. Thank you all for the spirited debate earlier. Get it, because it's Halloween, Senate. I just wanted to remind you all to please, 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 if you haven't yet, take my survey on student government. The link is in Teams. I think I'll send it again tomorrow. Not doing anything else tonight. And that includes Election Commission and Supreme Court. I want everybody in student government to take that survey. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for a great meeting. I think we got 6 to 7 really big things done tonight. Vice Speaker Hartley.
Yes, I'm going to say it one more time. Really thank you a lot for having this meeting tonight. Once every week, please don't forget to do your office hour. Jacob, I'll take you down to the office after this. And then please either recycle, throw away, or keep your placard. I don't need that. One thing I will say is please look at the Committee on Lectures bill. I've worked very hard on that in collaboration with the Committee on Lectures, and it's a large sum of money, and it's very important to our campus. And then also the constitutional change document that the Rules Committee is working on. I can either, if anybody wants to see that, please ask, or I can just kind of send it in a big email. Okay, yeah, I'll do that, just so everybody can view it as we're working on it for transparency.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for all the great debate and for participating in Halloween Senate. I'd love to see everyone in their costumes. Thank you all for going along with my games and everything. And we have extra candy if anyone else would like candy. And motion to adjourn, go Cyclones.
Is there a second? Are there any objections? Have a great night.